I was actually on my way to my favorite boondocking spot in this area and was passing by the Glacier Slough trailhead and thought, gosh, I've never actually walked up there before. And I don't know anything about the trail, and there's no distances listed at the trailhead. I didn't know how far it was. It turns out it's only a mile or two max, and it is a lovely spot. It isn't a lake, it is a slough. It's this like weedy, very shallow body of water, which immediately pours off into this pretty swift stream, which you can hear in the background. And it's lovely. Although it's not a lake, it's very lake-like. It's pretty sizable, but it does have a lot of reeds and weeds in the middle and on the edges of it as well. But what's cool is set off in the background are some of the Mission Mountains, a few of them with a bit of snow on them still. I found some wild roses, some sort of wild thorny flower, which I will, when I get home, look it up and find out what it is, and you'll see the name now on the screen. And they're really nice, and they're right along the lake shore here, wherein the flowers anchor the foreground here, and the snowy peaks are in the background with the reflection of the lake in the scene. I'm here about 3 hours early, and that's not necessarily by design. I really didn't know how long it would take to get here. I got here about an hour ago, and it's now another 2.5, 3 hours until sunset. So I'm just gonna hang out here by this lake on this beautiful summer day. I've already got a composition, I think, dialed in for the night, and I'm really excited about, which I'll show you here in a second. It's still a little harsh yet, the light is. I wanna wait for a little bit softer light, softer shadows, maybe even a little bit of color in the sky as we get closer to sunset. But I'm in it to win it tonight. This is my forever composition, and I'm gonna stick with it. And right on cue, and appropriate for where we are in the Swan Valley, there's actually a pair of swans out there with some of their young cruising around. Super, super pretty. So my plan is I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit, take it easy, maybe take a nap, and then get into it when the light's good. Well, I'm using a different camera tonight. I always have this camera with me. I kind of reserve it for time lapses and for this very situation here. This isn't my go-to stills camera because it's about half the resolution of my main DSLR, which I really love that camera and everything about it's great. The only advantage this camera, which really this lens has, which doesn't fit on my DSLR, is that this is a close focus, almost macro wide angle lens. So for this shot, I couldn't get close enough with my 16 to 35 millimeter lens on my full frame DSLR. The close focus distance is just too far, so I couldn't get close enough. But on this lens, I can get right up into flowers and still maintain, the full scene. But the close focus distance is much closer. So that's why I'm using this camera tonight. Okay, so let's look at this composition. This is cropped 16:9 for the video format, but it's actually a 2:3 aspect ratio, so it's gonna include a little bit more breathing room for everything here, but pretty simple scene. We've got these 3 flowers in the foreground, are kind of nice leading into the middle ground. And yeah, we're right up in them here, nice and close. Right now the light just came back. I think I like these shots better a little earlier when I was taking them, when this was in shadow, especially with the harsh light we have right now. It's just too harsh of light, and it just allows them to be a little bit more subdued to balance with the rest of the image, which is the big reflection of the sky and the mountains in the lake. It's a really nice dramatic sky tonight. Broken cumulus clouds with some high cirrus starting to move in, and they're broken enough and consistently broken to allow for regular spotlighting and light to break through from time to time, which is creating really cool contrast with spotlights on part of the mountains, and we're in shadow, or spotlights here while the mountains are in shadow. This image will really be made strong by interesting clouds in the sky, because there's, you can see there's a lot of sky here, and with cool dynamic clouds like there are now, it's great. It adds a lot of interest up there, and then of course adds the interest back into the reflection in that middle ground. Without it, that's just a heck of a lot of blue negative space and a heck of a lot of blue negative space in the sky. So clouds are kind of critical for this, I think, to really be an interesting image. And I think we're gonna be all right. It looks like these clouds are kind of lingering. It's been like this all day, and they don't seem to be dissipating here at sunset as they have the last couple of days. They seem to be holding on. In terms of the eye, like what it does in this type of frame, I'm thinking like, obviously this flower right here draws the attention maybe immediately. Then these other two kind of serve as a balancing force and leading into the deeper into the frame. There's an old rule, guiding principle, whatever you want to call it, within the visual arts of the rule of odds. The idea that having an odd number is more visually palatable and pleasing than having even numbers. And I think part of the issue is with even numbers, you expect things to be evenly distributed amongst the frame. 2 flowers in the foreground, maybe 2 a little further, or even symmetry when you have evens. But with odds, you seem to have more of a dynamic balance for the eye to flip between the 3, 5, 7, whatever number you have, rather than the 2, 4, 6, where balance is more expected, I think. That's my take on it anyways, and it works. Like, I definitely noticed a difference, say, between having 3 flowers in here, and I don't have a counter example to show you 4 because there's not 4 in this scene, but you can imagine with only 2, it may not feel as strong. Like if we didn't have this flower right here, I just don't think it would be as strong as it is with the triangulation here. But yeah, it's kind of a triangular thing pointing into the frame. I'm extrapolating a lot to justify my composition here. But the reality is, like, some of these things, you know, they really work, and those ideas, they don't come from nowhere, and they really help as guiding principles, I feel like. Yeah, so that's the scene. I'm gonna stick with this one and wait out the light here, which, let's do a little time check. 7 o'clock, yeah, it's gonna be another hour and a half to, no, 2.5 hours, oh my gosh. Yeah, 2.5 hours until sunset. Wow, holy cow. I did not expect this. I think what's so cool is how dynamic this sky has become. I was a little concerned that it was gonna just snuff out all the light, become kind of uniform and gray. And that wasn't the case. That's not the case. That's good. There's the mosquitoes too. They're happy. Mosquitoes are pleased. Everyone's happy right now. So that's good. As long as they're happy. I'm from Minnesota, and we just want everyone to be happy, even the mosquitoes. Oh, those clouds are cool. They just fit the scene so dramatically. They don't look real. All right, you've been listening to me talk about this amazing dramatic sky for a little while now. I think I should show you. It only makes sense. Look at this thing. Isn't that wild? Incredible. And we've got a total mirror right now. So cool. You know what, I'm gonna leave you here. You don't need to look at me, you need to look at this. Oh, that's my other camera. Let's see. I'm gonna put you right here. You need to look at this. You need to watch that, because we don't need to look at me anymore. There we go. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Yeah, this was special. This has just been a remarkable 4 hours sitting here, watching the light change, watching the swans. What a beautiful night. I really appreciate you watching. I really do. You don't have to, you know? You could be watching anything right now. You could be watching Mr. Beast on YouTube. You could be watching Married at First Sight. New season just dropped on Netflix. And now I'll leave you with the final image from tonight. We'll see you next week. Bye.